Today doing something a little bit different, just trying to tell the story of how I came to the States from Jamaica. So here we go. So it is 2004, and I just graduated from high school, Campion College in Kingston, Jamaica, a very prestigious high school that I went to. Um, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, right? Like, what am I doing with myself? So I was interested in computers, and I figured two of my brothers did computer science, right? So I figure maybe let me try that. Like, let me try programming and see, kind of how that go, right? And there's a university in Jamaica called University of Technology, and they have like a computer science programming, all that stuff, right? So figured, yeah, man, let me apply to that, which I did, got an acceptance letter. When it came time to actually go to school, I went to orientation, and I spoke with the first person I spoke with. I don't know who, I forgot what the actual title was, but they said, start telling this, but the program is actually full and you cannot go to school here. Like, it's not possible, right? So after the UE thing didn't work out, I did two things actually. I applied to go to a community college in New York called Nassau Community College. And at this point, it's coming up to the new school year. So my mother was like, you know what? Apply to sixth form. In Jamaica, you graduate high school at fifth form, right? Which is like 11th grade, I guess, in the States. And sixth form is like 2 extra years, and you do like a whole other set of exams. So my mother was like, just do like the first term until you have to leave for community college. So once I actually got the acceptance to go, that I was able to go to community college, I applied for my student visa. So you go up to the embassy, you do like an interview, them ask you like what you want to do, why you going there, etc. Not a big deal. So everything worked out. Call my auntie in New York and say, hey, tell her the situation. Like, applied to college down here, it didn't work out. So can I stay with you while I go to school in New York for computer science? And yeah, she said, yes, that's cool. No problem. I said, all right, perfect. Awesome. So just run off the time in sixth form, which was pretty much like August to December. Had like a little party and all that before I went away. And then, yeah, it was cool. All my friends from high school, all that. Then embarked on, the journey to go to the States, which I did. It was January. I remember very clearly, like, I went up to the States in like a jean jacket. This is January, by the way. Like, it's very, very cold. Like, it's January now and it's freezing outside, and it was freezing outside then. And I remember going like with a jacket, like, yeah, this should keep me warm. Like, I have like zero concept almost of like what it is, what the cold is going to be like. Clearly, I have no concept of it. So my aunts picked me up and sent me in the like little jean jacket. They brought a jacket, like a big down jacket for me. So luckily, I remember stepping outside and like seeing frost off of my breath when I was breathing. I could see my breath, for the first time, like almost like in a holiday movie. I only see them thing in movies, right? So it was very surreal to actually experience what it was like to be that cold. And that was like a big adjustment for me. Like, if you are trying to move to the States and you're going to somewhere cold, you're from like a country that has like a warm climate like I was, what took me so long to get over was just like being mad all the time. Like, you cannot go against the elements because you cannot change the weather, right? So you can change your attitude towards it, but you can't change the weather. So like, it don't make sense just wasting all this time complaining and being angry all the time because it's cold. I get it though, and I was upset for a very long time because of that. Yeah, anyway, so coming to college now, like, started doing computer science, and I did decent first semester. Second semester, I realized, as I went on with it, I realized it just wasn't really for me, computer science and programming and all the math. It just wasn't really me. I really had applied because two of my brothers had done that same program at that school. And, they had like continued with it, gone on to use that degree and stuff. And I figured, yeah, I just did that just because, but honestly, wasn't really for me. Good thing I found that out early, because if I did that any later, it would have been hell for me because I would have had to be the one, like living somebody else's life almost. So I would say if you're doing something like I think you should try everything. But luckily, hopefully you're able to figure out what you like very quickly. So you can rule things out as much as you want to say what I want to do. It's as important as saying things that you don't want to do. And I realized I don't want to do computer science, but I knew that I had like a real love of things digital and just like I didn't know what it was yet. But over time, I kind of realized like, yeah, that thing was graphic design. And for the first year, another mistake I made was really like I spent a lot of time thinking about back home, right? Or Jamaica, instead of really being focused on New York and what was in front of me and the life I was living right now. That's another big mistake I kind of regret, and I wish I made a different decision there. I had a lot of time just like thinking about, because I had like my whole life up until 17, up until moving, was Jamaica, right? So when I moved now, it was all I could think about was being back home and being with my friends and everything. Like I never really had friends when I was in school, because partially because it was like community college now is like a commuter school. Everybody comes to school and then after class is over, them just leave. Nobody really like hanging out to go to lunch or, hang out and do XYZ. Um, so yeah, one of the regrets from that is I wish I was more present in the moment and just being there. I spent a lot of time, especially like I got like a little campus job, working in the computer science lab. They would pay me X amount of money just to work there, whatever, and not anything big because I was a student. It was max 20 hours for the week, and I would hit that limit. And that plus my auntie would give me like spending money here and there. And I would just save all that money and buy a plane ticket and go back home. You know what I mean? And I remember the first time that I went back to Jamaica after being away, and I had built it up and hyped it up so much, got back home, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, cool, you're back. All right." Like you hang out and stuff and it's cool, but it's not like, I don't know, like you know how them say, you cannot go home again. I understood that for the first time. Like everybody I felt like everybody continued living their life, right? But for me, I was just like, I was away, but my mind mentally was back in Jamaica the whole time. And I felt like I didn't progress in that time. I was like stuck where I was coming from and I didn't evolve, I don't feel like. But when I came back, I noticed that people had changed a little bit. Just like there are certain changes that people do. Just over time, naturally, people evolve, right? And even though it wasn't that long of a time, like it maybe was like a year or something like that, I just noticed, and I was like, yo, for real, like I spent all this time thinking about hair. They changed. I didn't change as much. I stuck. You know what I mean? So another thing I would say, if you're moving away, I know like you're going to miss what you are used to, but as much as you can, get involved in things that are local around you and be present in the moment. Like find something to do, find a hobby, find a club, find people, just hang out and do things. I wish I did more of that back then. Anyway, as I was into drawing and illustrating and Photoshop, things like that, I'd mess around in the programs, etc. Just like make a stupid things, but it was always like piquing my interest. So around that time, started looking into graphic design, right? Like maybe that's like a path I could take. And some of my family was like, yo, don't do that. You never gonna make any money. Like, I guess they have like a mentality that like artists or, people in the arts, that kind of field, just don't really, not that lucrative. But I had a couple of family members, like my auntie then was telling me, yo, if you like that field and you think you can like make a life out of it, like a decent, honest life and make decent money enough, then, I think you should go for it. And it was the encouragement that I needed. Started looking up schools. So New York is really good for like graphic design. I didn't really know how good it was at the time for graphic design. I was just thinking about, I don't want to be in the cold anymore, right? So I had applied to a school in Florida, Barry University, and I don't remember how I even ended up there because the scholarship that they gave me was really not that much money. But yeah, anyway, I ended up applying to Barry University, and yeah, I got accepted. In hindsight, it might have been better for me even just to stay in New York because, well, the main thing is like, one, New York is very good for graphic design. Two, I don't think the student loans would have been as massive because Barry is a private school, and I probably could have found like a cheaper way to learn graphic design in New York, which is like a better place for it anyway. But anyway, I made the decision, signed up all the loan papers, everything. My auntie was like, make sure you know what you're doing in there because this is a lot of money. And she really tried to tell me or give me like an understanding that I'm gonna be paying this back for a while, right? She tried her hardest, and I don't think I understood the gravity of what that meant until like later. I was just thinking about, yo, I need to be out of the cold, right? And that was my main focus, to be honest. I just wanted to be, I wanted like the experience of living in a dorm, and just like being around people in that way. And I wanted to not be cold. That's all I was thinking about. And I wanted to learn design, right? So she tried to let me know, yo, this is like a big responsibility. It's going to be weighing on you for a long time after you graduate, right? So she never told me I shouldn't do it, but she definitely cautioned me, and I appreciate that. And I did not understand the gravity and the weight at the time, but I would come to understand that later. Yeah, so fast forward, graduate from Nassau Community College with a associate's degree in computer science, which was cool because I got to learn, things about like programming and logic and all that. And that was amazing because I think that's very good for your own personal development, just learning critical thinking skills and all that. Very good. But now the new adventure was moving to Florida and doing all that. So I had to get an extension or another student visa. I can't remember now. I think it was a next student visa because it was like a new school and all that, right? So I'm back to Jamaica, sort out some things, and then yeah, new student visa, buck ready. Moved to Florida, went to Barry. I had the experience of dorming. I would definitely say going to school in a whole new place and dorming and living amongst different people was one of the best experiences of my life. And if you have opportunity to do that, you should definitely do it because it will broaden your horizons. You'll become like a whole different person because you're going to learn so much more about people and just like awareness of different cultures and things like that. So definitely recommend doing that. As it came up to graduation, I did not know what I was going to do. Graduation hit now. So keep in mind, I'm on a student visa. I applied for something called an OPT, which is like a work permit for international students. You have a year to find a job that would sponsor you, meaning they take you on and they basically co-sign you and say, yeah, this person is working for us. We're gonna pay the sponsorship fee for him to stay, and him can go and work and live in the country, etc. Long and short of it was, I was in Florida looking for jobs here and there, but not that seriously, to be honest. I could have done like a lot more. Maybe 4 or 5 months have passed at this point, and I called up Barry University, my international student advisor at the time. I called her up. I don't remember why, but I called her for something, and she was shocked she was shocked to hear that I was actually still in the country. And she was like, why are you here? And I said, oh, like I did the OPT, me thinking I have like a full year to find a job, etc. She's like, no, you don't have a full year. You have, I think at the time it was 3 months actually. You actually have 3 months to find a job or else you need to leave the country. So at this point for me, it was 4 or 5 months. And she was like, you are out of status and you need to leave the country immediately, like tomorrow if you can. I said, Jano. I was like, what? Like, I called you for some random thing, and the next thing I know is like, I need to leave, right? So, as soon as I could, packed up everything that I had. Honestly, like, I left a whole bunch of things in different places, different people's house, which to this day, I did not go back for it. So, if you're one of those people, I am sorry. I was in a panic. Pack up everything I had, which really was, it came down to like what I could take back to Jamaica, which really was just like a suitcase and a backpack and stuff, right? So I did that, found like the first flight. I think I was gone within a week, if even that long. It never really took me no time. I just had to leave. At this point, this is 2010, I think. Yeah, this is like early 2010 when I moved back to Jamaica and just trying to figure it out, like what I gained to know. I had a associate's degree in computer science, I had a graphic design bachelor's, trying to figure out what I'm going to do going forward, because this is just my life now, right? And then one of my brother's friends actually hooked me up with a job, which was in public relations, but they needed someone who was able to do graphic design. I definitely was not into the public relations aspect, and I wasn't very good at it. There was even like some speaking engagements that I had to do that I really, really messed up on. And it was just not good. It wasn't a good fit for anybody. But I think honestly, they just kept me around because I had decent design skills and they were just using me to do certain like design tasks. But like at the actual job itself, I was terrible and I should never have been doing that job, to be honest. But I was there for like a couple of years. For the first time, I understood the feeling of people saying they hate them job and they dread getting up every day to go to that job. But one thing I will say is that it did teach me resilience, just because it was very, very hard for me to do that job. They're just like pretty much every aspect of it I just didn't like. I didn't like doing public relations, didn't like speaking about certain topics where I felt like I never had a good understanding of it, and it was hard for me to even care about it. So I was doing like a lackluster job on a lot of points in that job. But like I said, they just kept me around just because I was good at designing things. And yeah, that's pretty much where I excelled and why I even was able to be in that role as long as I was. But I honestly hated every minute of it. And I felt like, yo, this can't be life. I understood the grind and I understood people who get up and, have to do things that them don't want to do. Because I experienced it for the first time and it definitely was not pleasant. There was one part of that job that I really, really did like. I used to drive around with like a cartographer and I would take images, pictures, videos of certain like public parks or public spaces. We would do like these beautification plans, right? And the cartographer would draw everything up and I would take those CAD drawings and actually turn them into like 3D, like a projection almost, right? Like this is what this space could be if we got, if you guys sponsored it, we could get these plans into motion and this is what the actual public space could look like. So doing that kind of stuff, driving around Jamaica, like I don't think I really knew a lot of Jamaica until I had that job, because I was driving around the island so much at that time doing that job. But yeah, I drove everywhere and I got to meet a lot of people in, like all different walks of life, just like so many conversations I had with different people. And it was just nice, just meeting people and understanding how they live was eye-opening. And yeah, it was really, really cool. And I also saw a lot of like the kindness of people as well doing that, because there are some people who are just less fortunate, but because you're a guest and you're coming into the community, they will give you something all the same, right? So whether it's like a coconut or coconut water, or like big Bombay mangoes, because I have a mango tree and it's in season right now, so giving you fruit or whatever, just like things to welcome you into the community, because it was cool to have that kind of rapport with people and just meet different people in different parishes. Cause yeah, most of my life before that was really just like St. Andrew, Kingston area. And yeah, pretty cool. So I've been working this job for a couple of years. It's probably like 2012 now. And one day my mother said, yo, green card come true. I said, what? What I completely forgot about was like 10 years prior, I was probably like second farm, something like that. My mother actually got to apply for a green card, and I was a beneficiary of that because I was so young. So it actually finally came through like a decade after that, right? So because of the green card, now I felt like I could finally test this premise of, um, am I good enough to do graphic design in New York? Like I always thought of it as this was like a true test, right? Like, can I make it doing the thing that I love in a city that is known for doing this thing well, right? Call up my auntie, green card come true. Can I please move back to Long Island and stay with you while I figure it out? I know what I want to do. I want to find a design job and just go from there, right? Yeah. Imagine that. Like the seed that my mother had planted like 10 years before this green card thing kind of came back up and waited out that 10 years. And yeah, it came at the right time because I don't know how much longer I really could have done that job just like mentally, you know. Um, but yeah, that is how I got to the States, and that is how I decided to pursue my graphic design dreams. Anyway, the point of all of this is to say you never really know. You never really know. But it's always good to have long-term goals and long-term plans because, future you would really appreciate it. And future me did appreciate it. So thank you, mommy. I appreciate it. And all of this kind of came from that. So yeah, big up yourself. Thank you for watching, everybody. And I will be back in the next video, where I will probably talk about actually coming to New York and working for real and figuring out all of that and what that was like. If you are coming from like Jamaica or some other country and you're trying to do design or whatever you want to do, maybe this might be helpful for you to hear. So stick around, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll be back next time. Thanks.